Another effect the meteorite's radiation has on us is that it gives us time. Again, I think this time effect is centered around the theme of death, but it's not all that clear. So the fact that I can return to 4 minutes before a person's death is another effect of that meteorite? One of the characteristics of that meteorite is its ability to replay the moment of death. Replay the moment of death? Ah, this is all so strange and confusing, I can't take it all in! Makes about as much sense to me as anything else. Yeah, strange and confusing. That just about sums up the object that pierced my body that day. Thanks to that meteorite fragment, my very existence is a contradiction. What do you mean? Alright, we'll go over that then. That day, when the fragment pierced my heart, I lost my life. However, because it remained inside of me, that fragment continued to constantly regenerate my body. In other words, my body was continuously cycling between the moments that separated. That is not how you spell separated. I'm very ashamed of you. My life and death. What? My body's vital function stopped 10 years ago, but my body's time is perpetually stopped at the moment just before death. Time just stopped, huh? So I just simply existed, not really alive and not really dead, but alive, really. That pretty much sums up these last 10 years for me, ever since that incident in the park. My body hasn't aged a day, my hair hasn't grown an inch. Well, that's alive, it's just immortal. Which is like ultra alive. Come to think of it, that old pigeon guy mentioned something. He said he couldn't cut this guy's body with the scalpel. So I guess as soon as an incision was made, his body would be regenerated. Wow. Well then, revenge. Before I left this country, I wanted to do one thing. I wanted to get revenge on the people who stole our lives. Our lives? As part of the deal, I made those guys promise to cooperate. Cooperate? You mean the kidnapping? Are they actually like aliens and they come from where the meteorite came from? It all went fine. I manipulated the justice minister and made him issue the execution order. But I thought he might call off the execution at the last second. So that's why you wanted his daughter kidnapped. But they kidnapped the wrong girl. Little did I know. They had their own reasons for cooperating with me. Huh? Their objective was to wipe out everybody who had to do with Temsic. Detective Jowd was one such person, so they were happy to cooperate. This new microphone cable's doing really well. I'm going long into this recording, and it's not even messing up at all. I love it. Inspector Cabanella and that junkyard super, they were slated to be wiped out too. I'm glad that I figured out the problem and seem to have gotten it fixed. And as it turns out, I was one of their targets as well. So they stole my Temsic fragment, and here I am. But they had one more final target. You, detective. Me? Okay. If you weren't there in the park that day 10 years ago, I never would have thought of doing with this again. It's your fault, man. Okay. But I was just a little kid playing in the park. Oh, excuses, excuses. Yeah, I know. Huh? That's still such a funny thing. This is such a funny character trait that I'd love to see more of. 10 years later, and you'd become a detective looking into Jowd's case. Tonight I invited you to a quiet spot on the edge of town. It was a trap, you see. I told you who I was. You never saw my face that day 10 years ago, so of course you didn't recognize me. I took possession of you to make you shoot me. Which, of course, did nothing. Because he's immortal. Your subconscious resisted me. Such incredible power. It was the first time I wasn't able to control somebody completely. Her, of all people? Really? The aim was off and the first shot missed the mark. The junkyard was equipped with security cameras. I knew you'd be wanted for murder. Where do I come into this? That was my plan, anyway. But no, they had to deal with a bunch of blue dudes trying to kill her. They had other ideas. They simply wanted you wiped out. But then, something threw a big monkey wrench into their scheme. Me. Doing my trick stuff. I showed up. I was supposed to meet up with them after that, but then something went wrong. What happened? My body disappeared. Aha! The Inspector in White was responsible for that one. My precious bargaining chip was in that body. I had to get it back no matter what. That inspector caused me no end of trouble. But why were those people targeting me? I never even heard of the Temsic meteorite. Because you were looking into the Jowd case. They thought you would find out about Temsic sooner or later. That's it? We're still not out of here. And that's pretty much the whole story. The only thing left to do now is wait for water pressure to crush this submarine. Oh boy. Oh no! There are no cores that link from here to the water surface. What if we just travel on a bunch of fish? I have an idea. We hook up the phone line, and there are no communication cables down this deep. They meant for this submarine to be my coffin. A coffin for the dead. As opposed to a coffin for the living? I guess. Okay, man. It's redundant. There's no escape. I think I kind of understand now. What you've been feeling these 10 years. You what? This feeling cut off from the world all alone in a submarine. Sinking slowly toward the bottom of an endless sea. This must be how you felt all along. I mean, he took a girl hostage at gunpoint. Am I supposed to forget about, like, he's not a, and I don't know what he did before that. And then he's trying to, like, kill people and frame them and shit. He's not a good dude. Doesn't seem to be. Camilla! Is it true we're stuck here? What? Oh, If my dad was here, I bet he'd save us. I don't know what happened to them. That room just disappeared. Maybe they'll show up. Oh, Camilla, I'm so sorry. That's funny. What is it, Sissel? There's something I don't understand. Why would they go to all the trouble of detaching the control room? What? Why didn't they just steal the Temsic fragment and escape, if that's what they wanted? Why did they have to jettison your body off into the sea? That's a good question, but I guess it doesn't matter why now. We'll never find it again. We have no idea where it was launched to. Yes, we do. This will tell us where Detective Jowd is. That present from the Inspector in White. Why don't you use his name? That's right, Detective Jowd told me to hold on to it for him. And the bullet is still in this person's body in the command room, right? Then we should be able to tell exactly where it is with this. But even if we find out where it is, how do we get there? We should be able to figure something out between the three of us. With our powers, right, Miss Lynn? Right. Oh, and wait a minute. What about a torpedo? A torpedo? In any case, it's way too early to give up. Looks like Detective Jowd is our last hope. Come on, let's get started. Well, okay. Yeah, whatever. Let's get started with stuff, you know? Operate that control panel. Oh, shit. What the fuck? Grapes? Excuse me? Oh, yeah, for him to be fed the grapes. Why is this machine shoving grapes at me? Well, this looks like the private cabin of the top officer, doesn't it? This machine is probably for feeding him grapes while he lies in bed. Oh, it sounds so heavenly. I've been thinking about this for a while now. But don't you think that country's use of technology is just a little off? Says the guy who made a deal with said country. Anyway, it looks like the arm of this machine is a bit busted. Well, should something be done about that? I can't do anything with the phone, right? Oh, can I? Can I leave? Should I leave? Can I can't be Missile or anybody else, so I guess I'll leave. Well, she said torpedo, so I'll go to the torpedo room. There might be another torpedo left there, I'll go check it out. Oh, I get it, you're gonna use a missile to ram the control room. Well, I don't know about ram, we don't want to blow Detective Jowd up, but something like that. We'll climb up to the torpedo room too. Up is definitely safer. Okay, I'll see you there then. Alright. To the torpedo room. Looks like the torpedoes can be launched manually with these switches. There are 2 tubes, so there should be 1 more left. I guess the first thing we have to do is load it into the tube. When it comes to missiles, you can count on me. I'll enter the coordinates of the command room into the torpedo. And I just turned on the backup power. We ought to be able to use the switches now. Okay, let's try it. Good luck. Lower the switch. Okay. I don't think the entire device is broken, though. It would probably work just fine if only I could move this switch. We'll just have to find a way to move it somehow. But I can't do it with my powers alone. Oh, shit. Well, then. What does this valve do? Good. I mean, can you help me somehow? I think that's up to us and our powers. What? This is no time to be standing around unsure of ourselves. Will you lend me your strength, Missile? Me? Of course I will. Count on it. Okay, I can use him. Back to you. Get out of there. Can you switch the switches? Switch those switches. Yeah. Good boy. Do it! There we go. That torpedo looks serviceable. And all set on this end, too. But something's odd. What is it? What is... The command room, it looks like it's slowly sinking. Sinking? Yeah, like it's completely run out of power. I wonder what happened. I don't know, but I guess I'll find out. Right, okay, hop into the missile. I'll launch it for you. Here I go. I've already set the torpedo's course. It'll head toward the command room where Detective Jowd is. 12 seconds after launching, it'll pass by the command room for an instant. That instant will be your window of opportunity to jump over to the command room. Okay, got it. Then we'll find a way to come back and save you. That'll probably be my last task tonight. Just hold on until we get back. Am I gonna have to actually do it? I need you with me. You're the greatest. I'm sorry, I can't go. What? I just can't. How could I leave? I can't leave Miss Lynn and Miss Camilla behind. I can't do it. Missile. I swapped the switches so the missile can be launched. You'll have to do the rest, Sissel. But you're the one with who can reach it. What if I can't reach it because it's too far away? Like 1.5 feet. I can't do it either. I can't ask Missile to come with me after that. I understand exactly how he feels. I want you to go, Missile. What? But Miss Lynn! You staying here won't change our fate. But if you go with Sissel, you might be able to make something happen, and that's our only hope. But what if that something doesn't happen? I'll never be able to see you again, never ever again. Even I can understand that. I couldn't stand that. Don't worry, Missile. Miss Camilla, I just know you and Sissy can make something happen. I believe in you. I'll be right here waiting for you. We'll see each other then. Don't worry. Miss Camilla! Well, here we go, buddy. That's a good boy, Missile. Now, are you ready? Remember, it's 12 seconds after I throw the switch. We're ready. Am I going to have to do something, or is it just going to happen? Yes. We never found out who you really were. But that doesn't matter now. All I know is I'm truly glad I met you tonight. Thank you for everything. And I'm glad I met you, Detective. But we're going to see each other again, right, Sissy? Right, Missile? That's right, we promise, little lady. Of course we will. I'll never forget you, no matter what happens. Here goes, then. Good luck, friend. And we're off. These 12 seconds are lasting an eternity. I strive to think of a way to save Lynn and the little lady the whole time. But how can a ray of light, of hope, reach this far down deep into the deep sea? Before I can think of an answer, the 12 seconds are up. Nice, nice. It didn't look like it was close enough for Sissel to reach, but I'll give him a little leeway, I guess. Detective Jowd. I bet that big masked man did this. I'm going to bite him. You better not. You might break your teeth. The command room has lost power and is sinking. So I wonder what this masked man is going to do. Let's talk to Detective Jowd. Well, he's blue. He's clearly a water type. He breathes underwater. Sorry for the wait, Detective Jowd. Who are you? Are you Sissel? Please excuse my appearance. I can't believe you made it here. How was Camilla? What about Lynn? Well, kind of a long story. I told Detective Jowd about everything that happened. Well, he didn't ask all that, he just said, how are they? The answer is they're fine. It's not a long story at all. The submarine is badly damaged. Why would he do that to his own submarine? I wish I knew. I know the answer to that one. It's because he's afraid of my powers. You followed us? I didn't even notice. It's been 10 long years, Detective Jowd. Are you Yomiel? What? So you remember me, do you? How could I possibly forget? So that's your real name. What's wrong with, like, Frank, George, Sissel, and Yomiel? That's right. But those people on the Yonoa were calling you Sissel. That's just an alias I was using for my deal with them. I didn't see any need to tell them my real name. Could you do me a favor? Would you let me ask you some questions? I've been trying to find out my true identity all night. Sure, go ahead. I'm sure there's plenty we can tell you, right, Detective Jowd? Right. 10 years ago, you were a top systems engineer, weren't you? Systems engineer? What's that? By the way, I'm a top Pomeranian, you know. Well, it's kind of hard to explain to a dog, but it's a person who's good at using computers. I don't mean to brag, but I was one of the best in the industry. That's how I got roped into joining that project. Project? What project? It was a project aimed at reorganizing the nation's top secret information. The goal was to build a new system using multidimensional programming theory. Oh, that. I was asked to join the project by an agent of the government. It doesn't sound like something a top Pomeranian would know anything about. To me, it just sounded like another challenging job. However, this project was also the target of a secret plot. But you can imagine the kind of crime the nation's top secrets might attract. I never thought for the life of me I'd ever have to deal with spies. It was never made public, but every organization in the country moved on this one. And then one day the name of a certain programmer emerged as a suspect. I was the guy who built the core of the system. The police arrested you, and then that incident happened. He escaped from the interrogation room and took little Lynn as a hostage. So he was not a bad dude before that all happened. When was it that I was proven innocent? About 6 months after your death. I'm so sorry, Yomiel. 10 years ago, my soul was split from my body and I lost everything. I was sealed in eternal darkness. I existed in this world, no question about that. but nobody noticed my presence. What good were my powers? They didn't help anybody. Not even the passage of time could heal my pain. It's the first time we've seen the Justice Minister standing up, I think. At least from behind like that. In fact, it only makes it worse. I wanted to disappear, but I wasn't even allowed to do that. The way Lynn described it is exactly right. Sinking slowly toward the bottom of an endless sea. An overwhelming feeling of loneliness and despair. And I wanted all of you to suffer what I was suffering. And so that's why you murdered Alma. So yeah, you're still a murderer. That's not cool, man. I wanted you to know what it was like to lose everything you cared about. That's pretty fucked up. He didn't even do anything to you. He didn't even kill you. I wanted you to feel the same pain I felt. What? It was the twisted wish of a mind poisoned by infinite loneliness, clearly. And then, as I was plotting my revenge, I had an idea. I came up with a plan to use these powers of mine to make a deal. There's something I just don't understand about that deal. I'm sure your powers would be very valuable to them, but what would you get out of the deal? A new life. Life? I asked them for 2 conditions. Number 1 was that they help me with my revenge plot, and the second was a rebirth for me. Rebirth, a new beginning, eh? I didn't care if it was a fake life, an artificial life. I just wanted a physical receptacle for my soul, a name, an identity, an everyday life. I wanted to grow old in a society that would accept me. And finally, I wanted to die, surrounded by a loving family. That's the kind of life I asked them for. A completely man-made life. That's right, I know I couldn't hope for anything more than that. To make it all come true, I knew it would take a lot of money and a lot of power. That's why I decided to ask a national government to help me. And the response, in the end, was betrayal of the national government of the blue people, of course.